Hello everyone, I'm Simon Kemp, the QRBC Treasurer. Before I start today's budget presentation, I'd like to thank three groups of people. Firstly, the finance team for being a fantastic support and encouragement, and without them, I wouldn't be able to do this role. And that's Janet Harbour, our bookkeeper, and Roy Corker. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of the deacons for really making a huge effort in trying to get to grips with finances so that they're able to better support me and the finance team and to make really wise decisions for the church moving forward. And thirdly, I'd like to thank you guys, the church, and the other donors that have been amazingly generous over the last year and the years previously. Thank you all so very, very much. So on with the budget. I'm presenting this on behalf of the leadership team or the deacons. First, let's look at the current situation. So our current account at the end of 2020 stood at £81,570. And that's thanks to a number of things. It's thanks to flexibility from the BU. They allowed us to move to an interest-only loan for the majority of the year. Also the ability to reduce other costs, and for the amazing generosity of the church when we asked for everyone to dig deep. In April, the response was fantastic. Our loan account stands at 35,000 or just over, which is equal to the member loans we currently have outstanding. Our BU loan currently stands at £103,824. The CEBA loan is now fully paid, including the final gift, which equated to 10% of the total money lent from them or borrowed. So the budget objectives. We want to keep cash flow as sensible as we possibly can by cutting unnecessary spending and managing our finances really, really closely. We realise we've still got a number of months ahead of us with significantly reduced income. We're going to continue our commitment to existing ministries, and we're going to continue the investment in technology to enable us to deliver online services, devotionals and events. And as well as the technology, a continued investment in the person that's really helping us to deliver that, and that is Brian. And we're going to continue to support external ministries such as GAP and Global Challenge. First of all, we have the income summary. So the first column you're going to see on the left is the budget that we set for 2020, and we set that budget in the December of 2019. The second column has what actually happened in 2020, and the final column is our best guess, our budget for 2021. So if we first of all look at offerings. So offerings, we predicted 164,000. I'm just going to talk about the thousands rather than the pounds. We ended up with a fair bit more than that, which is fantastic. As I said, we had an excellent response when we asked people to contribute, when at the time we didn't know we were going to be able to secure some of the relaxation that we ended up being able to achieve. Moving forward, we're predicting 165,000 in offerings for 2021. This is just focused on the regular giving. Okay, we can't look at the sort of exceptional giving when we're looking at a budget. Building donations, likewise, we're looking at 17,400, which is our regular giving to the building fund. And the use of premise, we're obviously looking at that being significantly reduced. That includes the gap rentals and a small amount of other rentals that we would hope to be able to achieve through this year. Other gifts and income, I've said that we can't really account for gifts, and we don't. The figure in the final column there, the 2,280, is actually a designated gift on a yearly basis that is given for a particular cause in the church. And so our total income that we're predicting this year is 201,615. Expenditure. So building costs, first of all. This would include things like cleaning, utility, the church manager, the church caretaker, and also depreciation of the church and other assets like the manse and things that we have put into the church. Family, children and youth. This would include events, the craft packs that are going out to families, and some child protection costs. Ministry, that's anyone with a ministerial or a public-facing, mission-orientated role. The mission fund, this is our giving to external charities, and that we always try to keep that at 10% of our predicted income. Hence the 20,000 for 2021 based on an income of just over 200,000. If our income does go up, then we will adjust the mission fund accordingly. Church life, you can see an increase there, and that's what I alluded to in the previous slide. That's the cost of new technology, and also the wonderful Brian to help us deliver the services that we are enjoying and have been able to, as well as devotionals, Bible studies, and events like the Driving Carol service. Absolutely fantastic. Love that, by the way. Okay, so if we look at income versus expenditure, and we go to that final column, we've said the income's going to be just over 200,000. We've got an expenditure of 263. So that looks as though we've got a deficit of about 61,000. Now, that is true from an accounting point of view. So what gets filed with the accountants will show that. However, in cash terms, our deficit is actually only going to be around 15,000. And that's because of that 61,000, 33,000 is depreciation of the building. So that is saying that the building is depreciating at a rate of £33,000 a year, so that over the 50 years of the building, it will go from being worth in excess of £1 million down to being worth nothing, which we know isn't a reality. But from an accounting point of view, it's what we have to do. And it also includes 13,000 of depreciation of church manse and IT assets. And again, we've parted with the cash already. It's just hitting our P&L over a number of years. Okay, so that would actually really leave a cash deficit of £15,000. At the start, we said we had 81,000 in the bank at the start of the year, which means we would finish the year on 66. Now, this is also assuming that we're going to take a capital repayment loan holiday from the BU loan. So we will continue to pay the interest due, but we won't be repaying any of the capital due on the loan. Now, as you can see, this is pretty much a necessity. Going back 15,000 is one thing. Going back 35,000 would be a very, very different matter altogether. And the BU have been kind enough to agree for the whole of 2021, they are happy for us to pay interest only, which is fantastic. And we've always said that we want to keep 60,000 in the bank for unexpected eventualities. And I think COVID's one of the times when we really needed to have that confidence. We lost 80 odd thousand pounds worth of income at the start of this year. And if we didn't have reserves, we probably would have had to consider whether we made redundancies on those sorts of things. by having the reserves, it does allow us to ride some storms. Now, it's normally at this point, I would turn to the church and ask if you've got any questions, and I'd address them now. Obviously, I can't, so there should be an address coming up at the bottom of the screen. If you can send your questions into finance@qrbc.net, we'll collate those and I will then reply. Now, if I get one or two questions from one or two people, I'll probably reply personally. If we get lots and lots of questions and lots of repeat questions, we may do a summary to send out to people. So any questions, please do ask. The address will also be in the notes below in YouTube. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you all for listening, and also to ask you to continue to pray for our church finances, and also thank God for where we are with them right now. Thank you very much, guys.